we'll definitely shed a spotlight on it and talk about it. What we do is to try as much as possible to look at critical issues in the Nigerian polity and see how we can all find a resolution to it. And of course, recommendations from the analysts in the studio, from you, the callers who will definitely be part of the conversation. Hopefully, those who are in government, any of the agencies listening in one way or the other, monitoring the program, will begin to implement some of these advice or recommendations from you or the analysts while we critically look into this issue. So once again, welcome to the Political Spotlight. Now, there is one thing that we need to talk about, and I feel it is expedient that we look into these issues as best as possible and try to be as objective in it as well. Also use the opportunity to educate ourselves. 1 month, right, after 195 persons were massacred during the last Christmas festivities in 3 local government areas, the fresh bloodshed in Plateau State has again highlighted the failure of the Nigerian state to protect its citizens. It's quite disheartening and unfortunate. Now, the latest atrocities in Mangu local government area midweek resulted in the killing of over 30 individuals, torching of houses and worship centers. Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration needs to get a firm handle on the security in that state and other parts of the country as well. It's quite dire. It is as immediate as possible for this situation to be curbed. Now, we do know the Plateau State once again is bleeding, and there is a fear of an epidemic, as reports say decomposing corpses litter the traumatized communities. The condemnations and condolences which have been pouring in cannot restore the lost lives. The government must shake off its lethargy and rise to the challenge without further excuses. Dozens of communities are deserted following the fresh round of killings, which occurred despite the declaration of a 24-hour curfew in Mangu by Governor Caleb Muftwang on Tuesday, this past week. And of course, the idea is to arrest the deteriorating security situation in the area. The police officially confirmed that 10 houses were touched. Now, strangely, the attack occurred despite the presence of troops in the area and the enforcement of a curfew by security operatives. The fact that the violence happened in defiance of the warning signals show that the security agencies dropped the ball. The government's capacity to detect and respond to early warning systems or intelligence gathering appears to be inadequate, and this raises or poses the questions about the capability of the security forces. Now, the security and the allegations on the security, specifically by the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigerian Mangu local government area, Timothy Daluk, and the director of public affairs, Magwal Development Association, Lawrence Keshik, said that the military aided the attackers, and it has put a question mark on the roles of the security forces in the mayhem, which of course we are asking should be properly investigated. I recall during the last administration when Uyema came to talk to us about the security situation in the country and how it feels like the security of the military is usually overwhelmed or not aware when attacks take place. And they said there were moles within the system, there were persons within the military who were aiding these bandits or these terrorists. And it seems true with the follow-up and with what we've seen lately. It seems, of course, that there are some individuals within the military who have been actually sabotaging the genuine efforts of those who really want to curb this menace. I recall during the course of the week when this Mango Fresh crisis occurred, I called one of the freelance journalists in Plateau State who gave me an on-the-spot assessment of the situation, and I asked him questions. I said, Mr. Nash, do you think this is politics taking place? And Mr. Nash said, of course it's politics. That the bandits said that if APC is not the one who the Supreme Court declares as a winner of the elections, that definitely they would make the state ungovernable for any opposition political party. But beyond that, he talked about the fact that there is a serious ethnic cleansing going on in Plateau State. And we saw that there were reprisal attacks in the course of the week. I think that was on Thursday when some youth in the community said they would no longer allow this. And we saw videos on social media where they said the military prevented them from having to defend themselves. They said this were the military men, they're stopping them from defending themselves. And then the whole speculation went rife of some arm of the military is protecting these bandits or these terrorists. Well, the military responded to that and said that regardless of anything, it is their responsibility to ensure that there was order and there is no anarchy or breakdown of order in any part of the country, regardless of whatever prejudice is on. And so they said they were going to call the chairman of CAN to interrogate him, to ask him where he got his information that the military was aiding this Fulani terrorists or these bandits or whoever the name could be called for these individuals perpetrating this mayhem. Now, we do know that the government have initiated various peace building and conflict resolution efforts in the past. They all appear to have failed to stem the turmoil in the state. Now, in addressing the security crisis in Plateau, a comprehensive and multifaceted approach that tackles the root of the various security challenges there needs to be deployed. And to achieve a durable solution which enhances the capacity and equipping the security forces is also key. And this includes investing in intelligence gathering, which seems to be lacking, because sometimes you hear that these bandits or these terrorists invade a military checkpoint and you're wondering, how did it happen? How did they not know? Don't they have key intelligence agents on ground within these guys and fish out their location, or possibly they get a tip off that they're already active? In fact, in some instances, I have read that this bandits actually send a flyer in the community telling them a specific time and a specific day they will come carry out the attack, and it feels like the security agencies do not pay adequate attention to that warning. And so when eventually they carry out their attack, it seems like it's a new thing, or they weren't aware, or they do not know. And so these are the issues that we'll be looking into today on the Political Spotlight. Also, we do know what transpired in Rivers State. Of course, we do know that the governor there, Fubara, seems to be on a tightrope. Others would say that Fubara is spineless. Others may actually allude that Fubara does not know what to do. Others may say that Fubara may not even have an idea what he's gotten himself into, considering the recent developments in Rivers State. That question will be left for my analyst to respond to later this evening. Well, apparently, despite the fight and despite the 29 defected lawmakers sitting down and passing about 4 bills, this was on Friday, Fubara has decided to make 4 new appointments amid the State House Assembly voting to override him to pass 4 new bills into law. The governor on Friday appointed about 4 individuals, within his cabinet. And of course, the governor, while doing that, he mentioned the names. Tonto Davies is the acting administrator of New Cities Development Authority, NCDA, and Ini Briggs as acting director general, Bureau of Public Procurement. In a statement by the secretary to the state government, Tammy Danagogo, the governor said the appointments will take immediate effect. Martin Samaule's led Rivers State House of Assembly voted to override Governor Similai Fubara and pass 4 new bills into law. The bills include the Rivers Local Government Amendment Law, the Rivers State Traditional Rulers Amendment Law, the Rivers State Advertisement and Use of State-Owned Property Prohibition Repeal Law, and the Rivers State Funds Management and Financial Autonomy Law. The House decided on Friday during plenary after Amawule read 4 letters addressed to him by the governor, wherein he declined his assent to the 4 new bills which had been sent to him for assent. And according to the House, its decision relies on Section 100, subsection 5 of the Constitution, which said the assent of the governor is not required for the passage of the bills into law. This is quite interesting because these defected lawmakers, for now, they do not officially occupy any seat. It's quite surprising. This is the same Constitution they're quoting, and on the Constitution there is no alternative measure, there is no alternative amendment through which these lawmakers could be officially termed supposedly PDP members who are in charge or who are still in their constituencies. You defected to the APC and it's not yet been official that you are indeed members of an APC, knowing full well that once you defect, you definitely have vacated your seat. seat. So have you not breached the constitution? In what way are you sitting down and making laws and saying you can override what the governor said? Could this be based on the resolution they had with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Aso Rock when Fubara was invited? Would the president be considered as one who would go against the constitution just because he wants his own resolution to be implemented? Is that the kind of government that we're currently operating on? So what does that state for the future of Rivers State? How would Fubara react to this? What is the bane of Fubara's fear? Is Fubara afraid of something? Is there something between Nyesom Wike and Fubara that we do not know? Is there something hanging over his head that we cannot see, that only Wike knows and Tinubu knows? Or if he is overwhelmed or underwhelmed and he doesn't have the right persons to advise him? Because if he seems like his spine is not strong enough to be the governor of that state in the next 4 years, I don't understand what will happen. According to the 1999 Constitution, the governor of the state has every power to deploy whatever means to ensure that his government is run properly. And I recall when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was the governor of Lagos State and he instituted the 37 LCDAs. I remember that the then president, Olusegun Obasanjo, said he would not recognize those 37 LCDAs, and for that there will be no allocation to those LCDAs. Only the 20 local governments in Lagos State would he recognize, and those were the local governments that the federal government could actually give allocation to. But the governor at the time, who is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, decided to stay on with these LCDAs, and he looked for means through which he could finance this LCDAs. So it stood. Tinubu fought for the LCDAs and it remained because he realized that Lagos is very populated, more than the 20 local governments. So how will the dividends of democracy get across to everyone across all the 20 local governments in the state if LCDAs were not curated to ensure that everyone feels the effect of governance in the state? So that is what Tinubu did. So what is the situation with Fubara? How can he not stand to make his own decisions? What is he afraid of? These are the questions we're asking ourselves this evening, and that we're going to be shedding light on the political spotlight. I would actually be having somebody join us virtually, or rather not virtually, but via the telephone. I'll call him. His name is Mr. Andy Akpotive. Andy Akpotive is a very viral, very, would I say, vehement individual who knows how to express himself, and he's actually in Port Harcourt at the moment, so I think he's in a good place to tell us precisely the scenario in Rivers State and what it means, what the political symmetric would mean if this development continues, and how the political terrain is there. Mr. Andy Akpotive will definitely give us or shed the light in that regard. Also, I have in the studio Mr. Yemi Daniels. Mr. Yemi Daniels is a political, national and social affairs commentator and enthusiast. Mr. Yemi Daniels, good evening and welcome to the Political Spotlight.
Hey, good evening. Good to be here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. We have a lot to talk about. I've only just mentioned 2 issues, but I want us to listen to an audio of Adetokunbo Pearse. Adetokunbo Pearse is one of the top chieftains of the People's Democratic Party. Recall that the by-elections are very close, and apparently you do know that one of the PDP chairmen in Lagos State was kidnapped. While that is still worked on, I monitored the television interview earlier, and he made some statements concerning the upcoming elections, and of course also, according to him, what this administration to do, what the National Assembly needs to do as soon as possible. I would implore us to actually take a good listen to him right now.
Will do what is right for Nigeria. And what is right for Nigeria is that this administration cannot stand. The rate of insecurity, the rate at which the economy is going, all the policies that this president is taking, You know, the president we have is not the man that we all thought he was. This is not Bola Ahmed Tinubu of 10, 15 years ago. This man is gone senile. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's destroyed the economy, and the whole country is going down. If you don't see that, you see, the National Assembly is the key. I know it's a tall order to expect them to impeach him, but for the sake of survival of this country, this man must either go, or we have a review of the 1999 Constitution. The National Assembly has a lot to think about for the sake of Nigeria. They don't go there just because they're in a political party. They're not representing a party when they go there. They're representing the people, the interest of the people. If they take the interest of the people to heart, they will think about either putting this guy in order or getting him impeached. Impeached because it seems to me all his appointments are personal appointments. They're not helping the country. He himself doesn't know what he's doing. The economy is gone. Now the dollar to the naira is, I think, 1,400. The cost of petrol, companies are folding up, unemployment is up. The country is in serious trouble. Something drastic must happen. That's never happened before. We never impeached the president before. I don't think. This will be the first time. Because this is the first time we're having the kind of disastrous administration in the history of Nigeria.
Yeah.
In terms of governance, has administration that has been so disastrous for Nigeria, in terms of security, in terms of the economy, in terms of governance, has only one term. If he is not impeached, if the president is not impeached before then, he will certainly not go over 2027. The PDP is a formidable party, and the PDP can only grow. As the PDP is growing stronger, it is obvious from the performance of the APC now that it's getting weaker, and by the time we get to 2027, it will be totally in total shambles. PDP is not as strong as it used to be, but for goodness sake, we have 13 or 14 governors. We have about 40% of the National Assembly, you know, House of Reps and senators. And so in many states, we are dominant in the state assembly. So PDP, things are not as bad as they are. When you talk about people like Buhala, and so Buhala was never really a member of the party. Buhala said all the time that he was in PDP and because of Atiku. Now, if you are in a party because of one person, then you don't have any principles. Well, whatever it is. Look, this same Buhala was with me conversing for Tinubu on the 12th of July on a TV station like yours. And I was in the studio campaigning for Atiku. The next thing I know, a few days later, he's now campaigning for Tinubu, for Atiku. I said, look, so he's not a member of a party, never been. I don't know if he has any political party, really. He's a political jobber. I don't think he has any party. There are people who have gone to APC, but not enough to portray the PDP as a weakened party. We are a very formidable party, and in 2027, we are going to make sure we win the presidential. And
you just listened to Adetokunbo Pearse. He's a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party in Lagos and a former member of Abubakar 2023 Presidential Campaign Council. And he is saying that the party does not need any measure ahead of the 2027 general elections. And of course, in the course of the interview, he was asked about Daniel Bwala. And he said that Daniel Bwala is just saying he joined the PDP for one person, and that's Atiku Abubakar. He decided to be his spokesperson. So if you join a political party, you necessarily do not believe in the ideals of the political party for you to say that you only speak for the presidential candidate. And then, of course, your presidential candidate did not win the elections. And all of a sudden, your rhythm has changed, your songs have changed, and all of that. Well, Daniel Bwala has reacted on several occasions to that. And this time around, he did not relent. He actually faced the obedience. And this is what he said. He dumped, the ruling All Progressives Congress in 2022 after the party decided to float a Muslim ticket with Kashim Shettima, who emerged as Tinubu's running mate. He joined the PDP. He became the spokesman of the Atiku campaign, a role that saw him make some interesting comments about his former party and, of course, its candidate. Many people were surprised, actually, with Bwala when he hinted recently at a possible return to the ruling party. And this development came after he met with the president in the Asarok Villa in Abuja on the 10th of January 2024. Now, while he was addressing State House correspondents after the meeting, he said Tinubu has a commitment to the country and that he would commit himself to Tinubu so long as Tinubu's interest is for the progress of the nation. Well, following this declaration, Daniel Bwala became a target of criticism online as some APC, PDP, and even supporters of the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, otherwise known as Obedience, called out his hypocrisy. However, it appears that the last group have remained unrelenting, that's the Labour Party, in their attack against the politician, as his latest post on X, formerly his Twitter, suggests, and I want to read out what he said on Saturday, just yesterday. Bwala said he was ready to get into a mud fight with any Labour Party supporter who might want to disturb his peace. He also promised to drag Peter Obi, whose name he spelled corruptly, into the mud fight. So this is what he said. Labour Party in red. Day your day. Make I day my day. Nobody worry nobody. If una worry me, I go visit una matter and I go harder on Pete Obi matter like my brother Reno. Nobody worry nobody. So if you worry me, I worry you. If you disturb me, I go for your principal and I go fight kitty kata inside the mud. That's basically what Daniel Bwala is saying. But the question that comes to mind is, in this part of the world, have we seen our politicians act like people who believe in the ideals that they tell the people? Obviously, it feels that most of the politicians who get into politics, most, not all of them, are basically self-centered. It's all about themselves. So why is it surprising that Daniel Bwala has decided to show his true personality or identify himself as one of those politicians? And again, others will say it is his choice. If he no longer believes in his principle and decides to believe in President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, then why the derision? Why are we complaining? Why are we overflogging the horse? That's what a lot of people are saying. That's quite a lot for us to talk about today. But then let's go on by talking to our analyst right here in the studio. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Yemi Daniels. It's quite important. I want to hear what you think. Now, for Adetokunbo Pearse, he's asking the National Assembly to impeach President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as soon as possible. He also said that if the impeachment does not take place as soon as possible, then he knows that Nigeria is no longer a country you would call a country guided by the Constitution. Would you say he is saying this because he's a member of the PDP? Would you say he's saying this because he's speaking the mind of every other Nigerian? What exactly can you connote from what he said?
Oh yeah, thank you so very much. It's interesting to hear politicians say all kinds of stuff. And first and foremost, I would say first and foremost that Mr. Pearse does have a right to whatever he postulates, and in his opinion, he thinks that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has committed impeachable offenses.
Yes,
because of the state of the security and economy in the moment. Now it is left to the National Assembly to review all of these things. Yes, we do know that the prognosis is quite grim.
Okay.
We are in the streets are really, really dire.
But is it enough for him to call the president senile?
No, he is a politician. Now, politicians enjoy building narratives. The man I see on air, for instance, does not appear senile to me.
Okay.
Do you understand?
But he appears senile to Adetokunbo Pearse. In what? Because do you know what it is to call somebody senile?
I mean,
it means the person does not have a mind of their own. Did we elect a president who is mindless, who doesn't have a clue of what he's doing? Is that what he's saying? Is that what we elected?
That's what he is saying.
Yes.
I think it's left to Nigerians to now figure this out.
Okay.
The National Assembly to take responsibility if they think the president is senile.
Okay.
So what I see a man who claims to know what he's doing.
All right.
Unfortunately, what is the policies is put in place are not impacting Nigerians.
All right.
As expected. More Nigerians are poor. More Nigerians are unemployed. There's banditry, kidnapping, in several part of the country. We just said play 2 is a mess now. People are not. Think about the impact that the case of mango will have on us. Mango is one of the largest producers of maize in Nigeria. And what it means is that we are going to have food shortages going forward. As long as mango remains what it is today, the situation in mango is a national security issue. And if we do not take it that way, I'm afraid we will have more of food inflation in the near future.
So, that's your take on that?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's see this. Apparently, the lack of safety is the main topic on the lips of Nigerians, right?
Yeah.
And these days, bandits are wreaking havoc on the populace. In fact, the noise is so loud because Abuja, the seat of government, is being threatened by non-state actors. These non-state actors are so brazen. They are so confident in carrying out these nefarious acts. At the moment, it's not just in Abuja or Plateau, it's cut across everywhere. In fact, the PDP chairman or the PDP, one of the prominent PDP guys who got abducted by these kidnappers was just on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, so very close to Lagos. So what we are saying is not just at communities far from us. They're here. And they're brazen, they're bold, they're confident, and it feels like nothing is happening. So the question in the lips of a lot of Nigerians is saying that ransoms are being asked for boldly. We have NIN, we have NIMC, we have the BVN to actually trace these guys, and it's been difficult for intelligence agencies to do that. Now, if we have this deteriorating state of insecurity in the country under the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nigerians are now asking, what then is going on? Who is in charge of the country? And what firm resolve is the country taking to ensure that things normalize?
It's quite sad that we have a country where official documents are not well respected. We have a country where we do not have strong institutions, but we do have strong persons. I would say for the first time in our nascent democracy, we have a president that seems to have the judiciary and the legislature in his hands. You understand? It's a serious situation.
Mr. Yemi Daniels, it's very worrisome. Insecurity spreading volatilely so fast, and in Tinubu's first 7 months, Nigeria recorded 5,060 deaths per beacon consultant. That is based on the spate of insecurity. Under his administration is spreading like wildfire. That's how it feels. Of course, we do know that during the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, of course, insecurity was rife. But in the spate of 7 months,
it has never been this bad. It has never been this bad. Now, that was why I did say that we seem to have a strong person in the saddle.
Okay.
And when a strong person is contending with weak institutions, a strong person wins. Think about it. If we had a strong National Assembly, these issues would have been almost forgone. You understand? We would have called the president to order that was going on here.
Yes.
Do you understand? We have a situation where it will seem that The National Assembly is with the beck and call of the president. Now, in that circumstance, it's very difficult for them to do their jobs objectively. You understand? They are going to pander to political considerations here and there at different. So we have a situation where the National Assembly is actually not as independent as it should be. Now, for that reason, it will be absolutely, even if the president were committing impeachable offenses, they will play the ostrich or turn a blind eye until Nigerians possibly begin to take the bull by the horn and say, hey guys, we put you in those seats.
How will Nigerians do that? Because this is why we're having this conversation.
It's unfortunate that it's pretty difficult. It is very, very difficult. But however, where there is a will, there will always be a will. And that is why I have thought repeatedly that do we really have a critical mass of people that keep setting the agenda for the Nigerian state? Unfortunately, most of us are self-serving. Okay. You understand? In Nigeria today, our sense of social justice has gone to the dogs. You understand? Everybody seems to do what lines their pockets, regardless of how good or bad it is. So nobody seems to be thinking about the country at the moment. Everybody is thinking, and that's the situation we have. And that's the problem now. Because over the years, our sense of patriotism has been eroded. Now we have a serious situation in our hands. And because we have lost capacity as citizens, you understand? As citizens, we have lost the capacity. We have become more political than politicians. You understand? Yes. We seem to, our sense of what is wrong is based on who is committing the offense. True. You understand? So it is not about what is right or what is right. It's not about ethics anymore. It is about affinity bias. Is the person committing the crime or the offense my person or not my person? If it's my person, I beg you, gonna turn a blind eye, I pretend as if you've not seen it. All right. Yeah, so that's the situation we found out.
I'm trying to get across to Mr. Andy Apotive. I think he said he was going to be in a virtual meeting, but he said at least from this time we could call him. While I'm trying to establish connection with him, I hope, because I really want him to give us a good, strong perspective on the situation in Rivers State. It's quite important that we discuss that, because for Fubara and the Wike situation, I'm afraid that if something is not done as soon as possible, the challenges there would not help the state move forward. And in looking at Fubara and Wike and others saying that Fubara may not last for the next 4 years, for the fact that what is currently going on in Rivers State, Nyesom Wike wouldn't have allowed it if he was the one in charge. So others are saying that is basically why Nyesom Wike wanted Fubara to be there, because he felt that if he had someone like him, he'll be a good footmat to do whatever it is that he wants to do, order him to do what he wants to do and all whatnot. And that's precisely what's happening. In the course of the week, a local government chairman in Rivers State insulted Fubara, said all sorts of names to him, and nothing happened.
It will seem to me, for instance, that Fubara is just all by himself. Okay. I would have expected the PDP to approach the court now. The 27 members of the House of Assembly should have vacated their seats, for crying out loud. There are judicial precedents for this. And if they're refusing to, why hasn't the PDP approached the courts and enforced that order? Because there is a judicial precedent that when you vacate your seat, of course, that when you defect, except on the basis of the vision of the party, you vacate the seat. But for crying out loud, PDP hasn't done anything about that, to the best of my knowledge. And I'm wondering what's going on. And like you said, if Fubara does not take time, he will lose that office. He will not spend 4 years. And the matter is, I think he's clutching at straws at the moment.
Yes, clutching at straws.
I tell you, in my opinion, I think he's clutching at straws. Because you see, this is a Wike who ruled that state for 8 years. Wike understands the dynamics in Rivers State. Rivers is on the palm of his hands. He was a chairman of one of the most influential local governments there. He was a minister of education. He has been governor of the state. He was chief of staff to the governor at the time. Now, He understands the river's political dynamics. So I wonder, I just hope that Skubara will not be skinned alive. But from the way things are, it's an illusory trail, unfortunately.
Are you sure? Because I felt like maybe he was waiting for the Supreme Court to give their final ruling. Then he would now know what to do. But the Supreme Court has done that. But then it feels like maybe the case with the EFCC is another staller. Could that be one of the reasons?
No, I would. The first thing, I think, the first bargain, the first loss was not to have ensured that those lawmakers came back to PDP.
All right.
Now, the fact that he did not negotiate that at that meeting. It gave them room to do more things because it didn't seem to understand, didn't seem to grasp what was going on with him. As long as those guys were there and as non-PDP members, PDP cannot call them to order as we stand today. So if PDP cannot call them to order, he cannot call them to order because he's a governor and they are legislators. The only set of people that could have called them to order is the PDP. And today, the PDP in Rivers State, maybe I wouldn't know, is dead. Because you would have expected that they should have approached the court. At least this has been happening for 2 months. They should have approached the court on what's going on here. There is a judicial precedent. There is no division in the party. So why haven't they vacated their seats? So if they refuse to do that, you approach the court. The court enforces that precedent. And so it was, and that's why when I heard Mr. Pearse talk, I just wonder if the PDP is the kind of opposition that he thinks they are. The PDP as presently operating does not seem to have the capacity to challenge APC in 2027.
Don't you think that's why Atiku Abubakar has been calling for a merger?
Yes, Atiku Abubakar seemed to have a grasp of the political situation.
Others feel that he should take a seat. He should sit back down and just be an advisor. On a very personal note, I do not think just the same way I didn't think that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had all it takes to govern Nigeria. And this is my reason. We are in a serious situation that requires a lot of thinking, a lot of energy. His age does not give him the bandwidth for that, whether we like it or not. An 70-year-old man officially will not be able to deliver as much as a much younger person. Okay. You understand? And the political dynamics in Nigeria is so strong that a more agile president will have been better for us. In the same way, now think about an officially 70-year-old man and an unofficially 77-year-old man. In 2027, Abubakar Atiku will be 81, for crying out loud. You understand? But at the same time, he does reserve the right to ascribe to become president. It is not left for Nigerians to ask us the questions of what kind of leadership do we want going forward. And that's why I talk about the critical mass again. Okay. What a critical mass does is a set agenda for a nation. You understand? All right. They begin to control narrative, begin to challenge thinking and interrogate the system to say, okay, where do we want to be in 10 years, in 20 years? What sort of leadership will take us there? Yeah. With an Atiku Abubakar coalition, Atiku Abubakar-led coalition lead us there. And peradventure, Atiku Abubakar might just be moderating the coalition. He might not be willing to contest again. Are you sure? No, he has come out to clearly state that he intends to be the flag bearer of whatever coalition takes place. In fact, he was the first person who called for the merger. He said that Peter Obi of the Labour Party, Kwankwasi of the New Nigeria People's Party, they should synergize. There were talks at the time that these political parties were going to adopt that advice, but right now they have individually come out to say no, they are not in the talk of any measure. However, Pat Utomi said strongly that they're working on it. They have been discussing with some top echelon members of these political parties so that they can form a formidable mega party to wrestle power from the APC in 2027. But beyond the talk of wrestling power, beyond the talk of looking at what political party will be in charge of 2020 of the elections in 2027, we have between now 2024 and 2027 Naira to the dollar right now is about 1,000 and almost 1,500.
Oh yeah, 1,415.
Just call it 1,500 because that's what it will be selling at the black market. And you have the youth who are literally getting unemployed because you have most of these companies, multinational companies, who really used to employ a lot of us in their factories shutting down and leaving. So the labor market is now more flooded. You have entrepreneurs downsizing. You also have some major companies as well not increasing salaries because they would tell you they're not making revenue and there's no opportunity to increase salary. Cost of living is now very expensive. Transportation hasn't slashed. The president promised us a palliative earlier in the year. We've not heard anything more. Palliative in terms of what? Is it slashing of the transportation fares during the Yuletide season? And most of the transport managers said it didn't work aside from the train stations that said, okay, fine for that period. So it's hard. Life is difficult and you're not safe. You're not safe. So between now and 2027, what if there is no country to govern in 2027? If these politicians keep talking about let's merge, let's do this, and we have intricate issues to deal with between now and then.
Now, that's the difference between a statesman and a politician.
Okay.
A statesman thinks about the nation. The politician thinks about elections. You understand? Already they are galvanizing for 2027.
All right.
They are not talking about how do we deal with the issues that we have at stake. You understand? And that's why I did mention earlier, like I said, we do need an agenda setting critical mass. You understand? That will begin to drive narratives that tend to national development, not necessarily a political one.
Okay.
You understand? We could, if we had such a system where that are trusted, that are not being politicized, that will discuss issues objectively. Because as it stands today, whatever Mr. Pearse says, it will be tainted politically. That is because he's a member of the PDP.
Exactly.
Whatever anybody from the APC or the Labour Party says, but we do need people who are absolutely, we cannot have a non-partisan people, but we can have people who are considerably objective enough to analyze issues and say, okay, given the circumstance that we have a security issue, it's really, really bad. Like you said, just right here, a PDP chieftain was kidnapped 2 days ago.
Yes.
And that tells us that nobody and nowhere is safe in Nigeria. And that is, trust me, that is an impeachable offense.
But Adetokunbo Pearse asking the National Assembly to act on impeaching the president. Is it possible with the current constructs of the National Assembly at the moment for that kind of prospects or thoughts or idea to actually take seed? You have Godswill Akpabio, who is the president's person. You have the deputy. These are individuals who are strategically placed. So we did have any root or any forebearing.
It's a near impossible situation. Not even near. It's an impossible situation, except there is an absolute breakdown of law and order, and that's where they could take that as a last straw, as a last resort. But the leadership of the National Assembly, as presently constituted, does not have the nerve to pull that stunt. I miss Bukola Saraki.
You miss Bukola Saraki, Abi?
Yes, I miss Bukola.
Wow, I think I did too. It was an interesting time.
It seemed to be the most independent Senate president we've had.
Although we know that move was, we knew that the move was not for national interests. We do know that move, that mannerism at the time was not for national interests.
But the point is that there was a sense in which he made the move. Do you understand? We have a situation. This. You see, there is a difference between an adversarial National Assembly and a collaborative National Assembly. And the National Assembly does not have to be adversarial, but in collaboration we can disagree.
Okay.
Do you understand? There is a way you send strong warnings, strong statements to the executive that makes them know that, well, this is not, with lives of our Nigerians are threatened. We are the representatives of the people. We get feedbacks from them. And if the feedbacks from them are not favorable, we have a responsibility to tell the executive, you may not be hearing from them, but we do hear from them. And this is the feelers we get from them.
It almost feels like Nigerians are on their own. You have a National Assembly who is not speaking on their behalf or representing them or trying to defend them, because I would have expected a state of emergency on insecurity in the country from the National Assembly. calling all the security agencies, their heads, to give them an ultimatum to ensure that in the next 1 month, this uprising of kidnapping and all whatnot is buried, dead and done.
And let me be very honest with you. We've been dealing with issues for the past 12 or 13 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Scale from 2010, and we will not resolve it in 1 week. You understand?
Okay.
But the question we keep asking ourselves, is the present security framework sufficient or adequate to combat these myriads of things we're dealing with? The answer is no. What is the present leadership doing to review the security framework so that we are in a better position to deal with these issues? And that is what I expected from the National Assembly. Listen, we need a collaborative system now, a non-partisan collaborative system that, listen, this has to be stemmed. We cannot deal with this thing in 1 week, but we can provide a framework and create milestones that will know that, okay, we are making progress or we are not making progress. You create timelines. You understand? So when you do that, it gives Nigerians a sense of hope that yes, something at the moment, everybody is apprehensive because it could happen to anybody at any given point in time. We move around, for crying out loud.
Well, the coalition of United Political Parties, CAP, has disagreed with President Bola Tinubu over his recent private trip to France. The group wonders why the president would be embarking on such a trip while, according to it, Nigeria is in dire need of leadership. So, the coalition of political parties said it is disturbed and not happy by the frequency of Tinubu's so-called private trips to France, adding that the country may have just returned to the Buhari era. And it recommends that while choosing a leader, a comprehensive health and fitness test must be made compulsory so that Nigerians will avoid the situation in the future. According to him, one of the spokesperson, he said that it is our hope and belief that these private trips do not involve something untoward that is hidden from Nigerians who voted for him to salvage the country, which has been in a downward spiral. Now, Kenneth Okonkwo reacted to this immediately. Bayo Onanuga, or was it Bayo Onanuga that announced the president's trip to France? Okay, immediately, Kenneth Okonkwo said that what kind of private visit is the president on? And I remember asking my guest in the studio at the time, I said, let's just say this trip was already pre-scheduled. Nobody saw the fresh attack or the fresh crisis in Mango. But, my guest also said that regardless of how the trip was scheduled or what time it was scheduled, there is a crisis in your country. Your country seems to be boiling and you decide to go on an undisclosed private visit. Now, Kenneth is saying, if you are unwell, it means physically and mentally you are incapable and unfit to govern. You're incapable and unfit to administer, to give orders for things to be done. Why don't you let Nigerians know? Don't you think you owe them to tell them precisely what kind of visit you're going on? What kind of visit is private? You, as the president, everyone should know where you are heading to. It's just what it is, because you're now a public figure and you're the father, supposedly, of the nation. You're the figurehead of the country. What kind of private visit that is undisclosed that you cannot tell us? That's basically what Kenneth Okonkwo said. And he's saying, if you say the president is sick, if you say he's not well, then tell us he's not well. So we know that at the moment the president is physically incapable of handling anything dire. And then we know that the vice is in charge at the time to handle things, because at the state it is, we need somebody who can give decisive action, decisive instructions on handling these issues. Would you agree with Kenneth Okonkwo in that regard?
Absolutely. But like I earlier said as well, that we have a country where there are strong people, there are weak institutions.
Okay.
You understand? Now, when the institutions are weak and there are strong persons you're combating with,
right,
I tell you, it is Nigerians that will suffer. You get? In a decent society, for crying out loud, the country is in a difficult situation. The question is, why will the president go on a private visit at a critical time as this? It raises the question, is the president fit? Maybe Mr. Pearse knows what we do not.
What would you not know, right?
Yeah. maybe there is an information that he does have that we do not have. Recall that former President Buhari also went on quite a number of health visits.
Now that's what COP is saying, that we're seeing a replication of the previous administration
situation where for over 100 days the president was not in the saddle.
Okay.
And the governors was just in a sad situation. And so you keep asking yourself, must we keep going through this route all the time?
All the time.
And that was why they did say it's high time we began to ask for the president's the health status of candidates vying to be president or governors of a particular state, so that at least we will not have to go this route. The truth of the matter is this: the world has gone ahead of us.
Indeed.
We've gone. The world is gone. Rwanda has gone light years ahead of us, in case we do not know. Rwanda is gone farther than we. If you notice, we are not respected. The name giant of Africa is
no longer respected.
It's a myth now. Somebody did say a few weeks ago that in some country they refused ECOWAS passport being carried by Nigerians. I said, like, seriously? You understand? I saw the tweet and I said, really? You understand? So that tells us how much of a mess that we have found ourselves as a people. Unfortunately, politicians do not think that way. As long as nothing is happening to them, they really don't care. And that's why it now lies with every Nigerian to say, well, we cannot continue this way.
Mr. Yomi Daniels, in the course of the week, there was a back and forth between some northern elders, some youth, northern youth, who were saying that they wouldn't support President Tinubu in 2027 if he does not reinstitute the location of FAN and the CBN. I recall that in one of my world news bulletins, when I was interviewing one of the legal practitioners, his name is Barrister Eze Eluche, and I asked Barrister Eze Eluche, I said, why is it that some group of people feel that they are the ones who own this country? Why do they feel that they're the ones who decides the talisman, or the, would I call it the station, or the location, or the placement of the country? Because they feel that they're the ones who decide, or they're the majority in the country. This is the reason. They have threatened Tinubu that they are going to protest if he does not relocate FAN and CBN back to Abuja. They've also said that the relocation of these two agencies will cripple the economic activities in the north. We're wondering how, because we've known the state of the north this while, and those the states that have been feeding the north, right? And then the legal practitioner now said, okay, is this relocation physical, or is it just partly, or is it by paper? Maybe when you go online, you check for the address of the headquarters of FAN or CBN and you say, okay, it's in Lagos, but it doesn't mean that physically, right? The structure has officially been moved to say, okay, we're building, or we're saying officially everyone in Abuja, come back to Lagos. This is the official headquarters, right? And then the question now goes, you have a lot of parastatals and agencies in Abuja, critical ones. Even NNPC is also located there. Meanwhile, it's supposed to be in one of the Niger Delta regions, right? Yeah. And then you have other states that do not have any federal representation, any federal presence. You have Owerri, you have Enugu, even most other states, even in Calabar or Cross River, whichever. Some of these states do not have the federal government presence. There's no headquarter of the federal government or agency there. So would you say these states should start up an uprising? They should say they will no longer, vote the president come 2027. Who says that you are the determinant to who becomes the president in 2027?
Well, I would say this. Every interest is legitimate.
Okay.
Every interest. Some northerners have said the basis for which they will support or not support President Bola 2027 is a part relocation of the CBN on FAN. They reserve the right to do so. I tell you, like I said, every interest is legitimate. Now, the rest of us also reserve the right to say, well, we will support him. We will now create our own parameters for supporting or not supporting. But having said that, it also tells us how much of a mere geographical expression that we are.
We are.
That an administrative decision has been politicized. For all you know, we always knew that virtually all the bank headquarters are in Lagos. And trust me, there are only about 6 or 7 strategic departments in the CBN that will be relocated to Lagos in order to maintain the oversight functions of the CBN over the banks. And some people decided to threaten the president with an administrative decision that might be in the interest of Nigeria. Might be. I'm not saying is, might be in the interest of Nigeria. But on the face value, to my mind, because most of the banks are in Lagos, most of their headquarters are in Lagos, it does make sense to keep track of those banks, because we do know for the economy to thrive, banks are in the loop. They intermediate the entire process. So should the CBN not tighten its noose on them so that they can be effective and deliver value to the economy, notwithstanding the economic situation at the moment? So I think it's not an issue. I think it shouldn't be an issue. They reserve the right to say whatever they want to say. I recall that Adetokunbo also said this, that if Nigerians do not vote for Goodluck Jonathan in 2015, in Nigeria and all of those, people say all kinds of stuff.
All right, Mr. Yemi Daniels, it's like you said, it's an interesting time. For example, there have been talks that the president has been electing his boys. Let's talk about the fact that the national secretary of the New Nigeria People's Party, Adetokunbo Olayokun, has cautioned President Tinubu against ruling Nigeria with the mindset of how he ruled Lagos when he was the governor of the state. According to the NNPP scribe, Lagos is not Nigeria, and Tinubu needs to understand he is leading a bigger and more diverse entity at the moment. Answering a question bordering on alleged corrupt practices in the administration of President Tinubu, Olayokun said the capabilities of the president as a person are not in doubt. But if Tinubu continues to run Nigeria as if he is running Lagos State, he would definitely land himself in trouble. And this was via an interview with one of the online newspapers. He said he questioned the political appointments made so far by the president. He stated that the president has been appointing Yoruba people and Lagos boys only, which may not augur well for his administration at the end of the day. I remember Ali Ndume making reference to this kind of statement. He said that Lagos boys are the ones deciding for Tinubu the appointments to make and the decisions he's currently making. And he said that he knows Tinubu very well, that he's going to rethink some decisions and come back to status quo. And he made this remark when the relocation was announced by the president of, FAN and CBN. So, do you think it feels like Lagos boys are deciding for Tinubu? Is Tinubu administering Nigeria like he administered Lagos? Is that presently what we're experiencing?
Honestly, I do not care whether they are Lagos boys or not.
Okay.
But I care whether it fits into the federal character principle.
With better Edu, Tunji Ojo, Bajabia Mila. These persons have been in questionable situations at the moment and they're close to the president, so?
You know what? The federal character principle prescribes that every region and every state must be duly represented in the administration of Nigerian affairs. Now, that principle takes cognizance of our diversity as a people. And you see, whether we like it or not, if there is a preponderance of a particular region or a particular state in the administration of governance, it will send the wrong signals. And governance is about public trust. You can only do so much where there is sufficient public trust for you. Where there is suspicion and governance prejudices, you are setting yourself up for some governance disaster. I would want to think that, like Senator Leon Duma said, that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will give it a thought and say, wait a minute.
Okay.
Are we sure we're doing the right thing here?
Okay.
You understand? But having said that, I would also have expected the Federal Character Commission to have sent a memo to the president that based on so and so laws, we do not think it is in the best interest of Nigeria for so and so appointment to have been given in so and so region.
Okay.
You understand? That's why I said we have a situation where institutions are weak and the personalities are strong.
And strong.
When institutions are weak, governance suffer.
Interesting. I would implore you to be part of the conversation as soon as possible. And of course, we're streaming right now on YouTube. It is VOP 90.3 FM on YouTube, as well as across our social media handles. Also, at the moment, you can actually send your WhatsApp messages on 0700 903 9039 0700 903 9039, and the number to call is 0700 903 903 903. If you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see the numbers there, the number to call and the WhatsApp number for you to send your messages to. Right now, in response to the sudden withdrawal of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger from the Economic Community of West African States, the regional bloc has expressed its readiness for a negotiated solution. This development comes after the military regimes of the three Sahel nations announced their immediate departure from the group. The leaders of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger today declared their decision to leave ECOWAS as a sovereign decision effective without delay. These countries are grappling with jihadist violence and poverty. They have strained relations with ECOWAS following a series of coups in Niger in July of last year, Burkina Faso in 2022, and Mali in 2020. ECOWAS, in a statement released on X today, wrote, "The attention of the Commission of the Economic Community of West African States have been drawn to a statement broadcast on the national televisions of Mali and Niger announcing the decision of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger to withdraw from ECOWAS. The ECOWAS Commission is yet to receive any direct formal notification from the three member states about their intention to withdraw from the community." I wonder what this means.
I recall that, and I heard Professor Bolaji Akiyemi, if I'm not mistaken, when President
Please come closer to the mic.
Resumed office, and he said, when you become president, foreign affairs come to you. They don't go to them. They will invade you, and you must be on your toes to be able to deal with these issues. I think we bungled it in the first instance when there was a coup in those countries, and we wanted to move in on them. You think so? Oh yeah, I think it was a major diplomatic error. I think so, and that frosty relationship kept degenerating up until now. You understand? Now we have a situation.
But what did they gain though in being part of the ECOWAS nations? Because it almost feels like the Sahel region is going through serious crisis,
a whole lot at the moment.
Security crisis. Even if how Nigeria is battling with its own.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, as long as if you listen to that statement, it seemed to border on trust as well.
Yes.
You understand? They seem not to have the kind of trust they should have on an ECOWAS. And like you did say, what's the benefit? What value is ECOWAS providing to these communities? To the best of in their own mind, there is no point. So
it's almost inefficient. Nothing active is going on.
What's the basis of the relationship? Because we keep making commitments to ECOWAS, whether we like it or not. They pay bills and all of that. And so if we are paying bills and we're not getting commensurate value, so why remain in it? Because we have a whole lot to deal with. So if ECOWAS cannot help us in resolving our security issues,
let's resolve it
ourselves and deal with these issues. ECOWAS will now have to come to them and negotiate again. So I think it's an opportunity for ECOWAS to say, okay, I think there's a problem here we need to review. We have a culture of squandering crisis in Africa and Nigeria. Every time a crisis happens, we do not take our time to say what happened. Where are we making this mistake? Can we get on a round table and sincerely address these issues so that we can move forward? Unfortunately, we don't get to do that. It's all about knee-jerk approaches so that's to prove that I am one Superman or one super agency or one super international community.
Hello.
Good evening, Esther Wachuku and your guests in the studio.
Good evening. How are you? What's your name, please?
Fine, thank you. You are doing a very good job. The Lord is your strength.
Thank you. Name and location?
My name is Peter Usufo.
Mr. Peter. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
All
Happy
right.
weekend. Happy Sunday once more.
Same to you.
God bless you.
All right, go
God
ahead.
bless you. Yes, I want to comment on Mr. Pearse's comment on Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Mr. President.
Okay.
He said that the president is senile and
Yes.
is also asking for impeachment. Well, I will not go to that extent. What I want to talk about is about his comment on the economy and insecurity.
Okay.
To a very large extent, is very correct.
All right.
You see, just as you rightly said, that since Tinubu came to power, we have lost about 5,050 Nigerians when it comes to insecurity matters, like banditry, terrorism, and the rest, which is very unfortunate.
All right.
But Mr. Pearse himself has not provided any solution. So be that as it may, it's even worse than Mr. President that's even criticizing. When you criticize somebody, you should provide solutions. I thought he should have provided solutions to Nigerians. That is that. Then on River State and Kubara, yes, there's problem there, but with God's intervention, that problem will be solved.
You sure that God is needed in this instance? These are things that can be easily resolved if the right thing is applied.
Please let me continue. You see, your guest there, said something that the PDP should take the House of Assembly members to court. You understand? But I want him to understand that you don't have that where you did not sow. Apology to late Maje Fashet. He said you cannot sow cocoyam and harvest a cassava or vice versa. You see, at the moment in River State, Wike is PDP. PDP is Wike, whether you like it or not. In conclusion, my suggestion, my solution to this problem that is going on in Rivers, as people will say, is that Wike, as the godfather of the political structures in Rivers State at the moment, should call to Barra all the political structure members. I'm talking about the assembly members, people, the commissioners, and the rest. Call them to a meeting. Let them say what their minds are. It's not even to Barra himself. So it will be very difficult for Wike to trust him again.
Okay.
Because of what he did at the issue. But let him just call that meeting and then make everybody understand each other.
Okay.
Then after that, he will now tell Fubara to concentrate on governance and forget about politics. When I talk about politics, we are talking about people, the so-called elders in River State, the youth and the rest, who may want to foment trouble. He thought the policy. These are people who are actually against Fubara.
Right. Mr. Peter, we need to take more calls.
To understand.
All right,
so,
thank you.
For me, we should forgive Fubara and let others, also say their mind in that meeting.
All
so
right.
that they move ahead. At least let Fubara complete his first term, even if he doesn't go for the second term.
All right.
So, for Fubara himself, should be very careful. He should not leak secrets unnecessarily.
Okay.
So, when I talk about secrets, government secrets unnecessarily, so people who don't like River State as a state and Nigeria in general. So
All
this
right.
is my submission for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Esther,
Thank you.
for giving me this time.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Peter Osifo. You have yourself a wonderful evening. Quite an interesting time. Let's take more calls. Hello? 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 Hello, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Please let me continue.
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me? Oh my God. I can't hear you. Hello?
Hello?
Yes,
Hi. Can you hear me
hello.
now?
Yes, hello, I can hear you now. Yes. Go ahead, please.
Oh, perfecto. Thank you very much for doing
Yes.
a great job.
Yeah, well,
You see,
what's your name, please? Name and where you're calling
sorry,
from.
bad courtesy. Apology. My name is Remy. I'm calling you from Central London.
All right, Mr. Remy, welcome to the Political
see-
Spotlight.
Thank you. You see, that's what you look out for in any society is a pattern. Yesterday, a friend of mine called me prophet, and I told him I'm not a prophet.
Okay.
Because when Bola Tinubu announced subsidy removal, I told all of my friends and those around me, I said, guys, any money where they use for your bank, convert them to hard currency, because this money will shrink like crazy. Now, the currency, Nigerian currency now, was half of what it was when Bola Tinubu came in. Those who listened to me then, they are now feeling good because their money is hiding somewhere. And those who didn't, they've got themselves to be blamed. You see, when you see a pattern, and that pattern is consistent with failure, negligence, recklessness, you can never expect any fresh result. And that's why I think anybody expecting anything new from this current administration, it might be that they don't have respect for their mental health. Lastly, Esther, you see, the ECOWAS is in a mess. And you see, the isolation of this military government is going to be consequential. And I said so because if you don't allow them to be part of the mainstream states, they will go into the dark economy. And the dark economy, what flows in there will be drugs, will be criminality, will
and
be
to affect other neighboring nations.
Exactly. And they are neighbors. So, what I think African Union need to do, you need to negotiate with those people. Sanctioning them cannot be a measure to go, because these guys are popular in their country, my dear. They are popular. You can only deal with government that are not popular in that way. So what African Union, ECOWAS, I think Tinubu is still their chairman,
yes,
right?
He's the chairman. Yes, he is.
Oh, is he the chairman?
He is.
In France.
Yes.
The Paris. So what I think they should do, negotiate with these guys. Because if they are look, North Korea has been isolated for years. Are they broke? They are not broke. They still have more money to do their atomic bomb, because they deal in dark economy. Dark economy is real, and it will be consequential for the mainstream society. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ormi. That was quite apt. Thank you. I do appreciate that. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. At 0700 903 9039. That's a WhatsApp number. You can send your messages in there. We'd appreciate it. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
How are you? Welcome to the Political Spotlight. Name and location, please. Good evening. Mr. Yemi Daniels is greeting you.
Hey, good evening.
Well, go ahead, please.
Okay. Sometimes when I listen to this information on this platform, it's like they are trying to blow it up out of proportion. But
okay.
So
sorry, what information what information did you hear that were bloating out of proportion, please?
When somebody is a member of PDP, trying to sell it, trying to like a kind of
hello? Your line is bad. Your connection is very poor. Hello? Kindly call back, please. I would really like to hear what you have to say, what context we are over bloating the conversation. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Jonathan. I'm calling from London.
All right, Mr. Jonathan, welcome to the Political Spotlight. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I greet your guest there. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, I congratulate the country that have moved themselves away from ECOWAS.
Okay.
So I wish Nigeria can move themselves away from ECOWAS, but we cannot move away from Tinubu. That is the problem. So that is the crisis Nigeria finds. Nothing. Those countries cannot get help except they move away from ECOWAS. ECOWAS is a cartel. ECOWAS does not mean anything good. From this group of the Ghanaian president, the way they cancelled the conference they want to have Peter Obi, and no group of this ECOWAS meant well for the ECOWAS region. No group, believe it, my sister. So, and these people are seeking for help. I know internationally they have advised them. If you want us to help you, go and move away from those cartel. So that is my contribution. I congratulate them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. And the WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039. Hello? 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 You're live. All right, do call back since you're not ready. 0700 903 9039. That's the WhatsApp number, and the number to call is 0700 903 903 903. Hello. Kindly turn down the audio of your radio or your listening, whatever device you're listening to us from, please.
Hello, good evening.
How are you? Name and location, please.
Yeah, my name is Mr. Amadi, calling from Ejigbo.
Mr. Amadi, how is Ejigbo this evening?
It's all right. It's all right.
Please go ahead.
So, what I'm trying to ask about the lawmakers in Rivers State.
Okay.
Do they know that Nigeria is operating under law? Why do they resign from the PDP and they are still sitting there making us overrule the governor? Why they're not supposed to be on that seat again? Like you people are saying that PDP are weak. They're supposed by now, they're not supposed to be there. You're right.
Okay.
So come to security. I don't think that Tinubu is serious about the security issues, because I don't see the reason why a head is there when the subordinates is going down, and he just let them without any statement, without anything, and you go to your private. That means your privacy is more important than Nigeria. So if by the time all this is going, like our brother sitting there telling you that you have weak institution, and that is very dangerous. That is very dangerous. Unless you wake up, Nigeria will not move forward. Nigeria is going down every day. It's not a laughing matter. It's not a joking matter. Nigeria is going down every day. If you watch how the whole things are going, people don't value life again in Nigeria. For sure, people are disappointed.
Hello? Oh. We can't hear you anymore. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call, and the WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039. Let me read some of your messages here. Good evening to you and your guest, Esther. The governor of Plateau State should resign immediately. What good is government if it cannot protect the lives and property of its citizens? The president is out of the country as of today. I thought his party said he was physically fit to rule. Is this not the height of deceit and hypocrisy? Banks are issuing humongous amounts of hard currencies weekly. Banks are culpable because they cannot pretend not to know those who are paying ransoms to kidnappers. Kidnappers hardly use bank accounts, and as such medium of transaction is easily traceable. Muiwa from mainland. Okay, this is, you didn't put your name here. Kindly put your name when you send messages. Buhari came, they said this is not the Buhari we know, yet no one could prove it. Now the same statement again. Until Nigerians are aware of the roles of mental health of the people we elect, we should expect nothing better. The man, I'm not going to read this out. Okay, I am personally not surprised about the president's situation. Imagine me with my first class certificate in electrical electronics engineering technology, no job. What do we expect from a jobless, frustrated youth who has no fear of God? May God help us. Please, next time when you send messages, always include your name. Hello?
Yeah, good evening, Esther Wachuku. This is Mr. Richard from Germany.
Mr. Richard, how are you?
Fine, thank you. And you?
I'm okay. Please go ahead.
And the gentleman there. My regards to him. The young man has said all. Nigeria has no government. There is no government in Nigeria. Even Fela, may his rest in peace, called them Wayo government. That was Fela many years ago. People thought he was mad. People thought he was drinking, he was smoking, he was smoking ganja. There is no government. There is no. In fact, the last government that tried to do something in Nigeria was this Jonathan. From 2015 till today, there is no government. There is no government. These people, I don't want to use, a derogatory name here, but these people have destroyed the lives of Nigerians. These people have made Nigerians, destitute. I mean, in their own country, people are eating from the gutter. People are eating from the gutter. There's no government from the presidency to the local government chairman. These people are not. I don't know how to describe them this evening. Look at what is happening in Nigeria. The president is in France. This thing can never happen in Germany. It can never happen in France. There is no way. Imagine Emmanuel Macron being somewhere while his country is burning. It's impossible. It cannot happen. I saw a little clip of him yesterday, in Paris, celebrating the Super Eagles victory. A president of a country, the largest economy in Africa, the most populous black nation in the world. Look at the people that are ruling us. Look at them. Look at Buhari. Look at Tinubu. Look at them, and they will tell you Nigeria is the most intelligent people in the world. No, we are not. We are morons everywhere. Because if we are the most intelligent people in the world, there's no way these two people, Buhari and Tinubu, would have been president of Nigeria if we were so intelligent. We are not intelligent. We are morons. Because look at Tinubu met $460. Today, dollar is 1,450. Tinubu, they were telling the whole world the most intelligent, first class accountant. He worked with the mobile. He did this. He built Lagos. Propaganda. If you leave, the propaganda can never bring you anywhere. Look at how weak he is. In everything, in economy, in security, in everything, very weak. I have lost almost $30,000 or euros within 2-3 months. This guy entered this presidency, and you should go back to Nigeria and address Nigeria. You should go back there. You should leave France. You should go back to immediately. Tonight.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Yemi Daniels, what do you have to say? Because he was quite intense.
Oh, pretty much so. And those concerns are valid.
Okay.
And most of the statements are very true.
Okay.
And the most challenging problem is that there doesn't seem to be a coordinated approach for solution. And that's what makes it more worrisome.
More depressing.
Now, if leadership was proactive, if leadership demonstrated concern, look at what has been happening in Plateau, for instance. You would expect that at least you may not be able to stop the killing, everything but you will stop the frequency of it.
Okay.
It would seem that the bandits don't even give a hoot.
Okay.
There is no sense of fear of security personnel. And you ask yourself, is it that Nigeria is now an ungoverned space, or Plateau is an ungoverned space? Is that it? And for people blaming the state governor, for crying out loud, he has no business with security.
Okay.
He doesn't have the capacity to deal with security issues. He can only adopt moral suasion with Nigerian police. The commissioner of police of that state does not take instructions from the state governor. It takes instructions from the AIG and the IG supervising Plateau State.
Okay. Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Turn down the audio of your device, please.
Yeah. Good evening. Good evening.
Evening. How are you? Name and location, please.
I don't know what people are saying about.
You said? Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
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 Yeah.
What did you say? Oh no, this connection is poor. Please kindly call back 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. And the WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039. 0700 903 9039. Evening, Esther. In today's Nigeria, Emi Lokon has turned to any Lomo when you allow deceptive taskmaster and excuse makers to enter power through the back door. The result you get is turning laws to lawlessness, dreams to nightmare, brilliant minds to low-grade minds, secure country to a gangster paradise, turning people to beggars and almajiris in the midst of plenty, turning a booming nation to economic disaster, pocketing institutions and make them ineffective, turning journalists to eye service propagandists. Like Obi said, if the foundation that brought you into power is not credible, you can't be credible. It's a shame the worst of us is ruling the best of us. And that is Dio from Faba. All right, Dio, thank you for that message. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Evening, name and location, please.
Yes, I'm Chief.
Hello.
Yeah, hearing.
You're breaking. What did you say your name is? Oh, no. Please kindly call back. I can hear calling from Lagos Island, but I can't hear you properly. The connection is very poor. Kindly call back 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. And the WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039. 0700 903 903 903. Hello.
Hello,
yes. How are you? Welcome to the Political Spotlight.
Thank you.
All right, what's your name?
I'm Festus.
Calling from?
K2.
All right, Festus. This is the answer 1-1. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. I want to comment on Rivers.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Festus.
You see, the problem is not the way you people are looking at it.
Okay.
The problem is not Wike. Honestly.
Okay.
You know, before the other governor, there must have been an agreement. The man did not come out from the blues. There was an agreement. There was no problem that time. You know what Wike was trying to do was to play party politics. You don't have your individual agenda. Let me take you back to when Awolowo was alive in the West. UPN or Ash. It was an individual exercise. The party will sit down and plan and tell you this is where we are going. That is why the West is better. It is party politics, grassroots politics.
Okay.
So if other regions try to copy it may be rough, but they will get there. If others understand, you don't just come to governor and say you have your idea. You are a member of that party. You are only representing other party members. Because anybody can be governor. Once you have what it takes, educationally or whatever. So it's not a dark side. I'm a Yoruba man. But UPN that time had 4 cardinal programs. So if you are in Lagos, you see free education. Go to Oyo, the same thing. Go to the road now Delta and Edo State, ruled by Ambrose Ali, the same thing. So anywhere you go to as a UPN, this is UPN state, the same program. That is party. So if you leave, the program is on ground. You are just to continue. That is what Tinubu is doing in Lagos. It is party, not individual. So once a man enters, the blueprint is already there. This is where the last governor saw. So you continue from there. No, you can't just enter and say you have an idea, because you are part of those who put down the program. You're a member of the same party. We don't pick outsiders. So you are part and parcel.
All right.
So how can you now enter within 4 years? You now say you have another idea better than all those who sat down to formulate the idea.
So you're saying now that it's Fubara's fault for wanting to come and change the status quo? Okay.
Yes, because he knows. He knows.
All right. Thank you for calling.
Cry out.
Thank you for calling. Let's take other calls. We'll soon be wrapping up. 0700 903 903 903, and the WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039. Let me take some messages on YouTube. Good evening, sister. I don't know why Ijaws are always weak. That's what Jonathan did and gave power easily to Boko Haram and APC. Here we have found ourselves today, and this is from Godwin Nwaziama. Johnson also says Tinubu is taking his looting to a safe haven. I think you mean a safe haven. Wingate facilities. Tinubu said he will continue from where Buhari stopped on his footsteps. Johnson also says dollar is going to be 2,000 naira in 2 months. Hey, Johnson, that is not a good prophecy or a good prediction, because we're not finding it funny here at all. All right? Okay, so let me take all the messages. Let's be blunt and unapologetic with the truth. The party in power today is yet to get a firm grip of the situation facing the nation. The poor cannot save Nigeria. It's the rich and influential who are not in government that can start the change and sustain the pressure until the government becomes frustrated to the point of taking critical steps towards progress. Muiwa from mainland. All right. Good evening. Thank you so much, Muiwa. And I pray that you will continue to give us the right and appropriate responses or recommendations to the issues that we discuss here. Okay. Evening, Esther. There is a saying, righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach. You can see conspiracy between the government, ceremonial service chiefs, and the northern elites. Where the world do you hear repentant terrorists? People who kill people, kidnap for ransom, rape just because of elections. Do you know how many people died from Buhari's and Tinubu's tenure just because of government negligence, eye service, hypocrisy, and propaganda, playing with human lives, all because of their wicked ambitions? Do you know how many dreams they have killed, the nightmare they have created? This is why nowhere is safe. It's a shame the worst of us is ruining the best of us. Thank you, Dio, but kindly make your messages as short as possible. All right, 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. The WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039, 0700 903 9039, and the number to call is 0700 903 903 903. Good evening. It's Adeyemi Kamuru from Satellite Town, Lagos. Peter Obi said a lot of things against Obasanjo and Atiku between 1999 and 2007, but that didn't stop him from running as a vice president with the same Atiku. If anybody wants to mock Daniel Bwala for supporting Tinubu because of what he has said against him, it should not be supporters of Peter Obi, which is also guilty of the same Daniel Bwala. If Daniel Bwala go explain tire for his decision, Peter Obi go explain more tire. All right, you didn't tell. Okay, Adeyemi Cameroon. All right, well done. Thank you for your messages. Hello. And we've lost that connection. Kindly do call back 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call, and the WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039, 0700 903 9039. That's the WhatsApp number, while the number to call is 0700 903 903 903. We'll soon be wrapping up the political spotlight for today. Kindly call. Let's know what you think concerning the conversation we've had and the several topics we discussed on. Hello. Yes, hello.
Hello, good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am.
How are you? Name and location, please.
I'm doing Francis.
Hello, Francis. Okay, please go ahead, Francis.
Yeah, you know, I just want you to understand one thing. You cannot give what you don't have.
Okay.
When you have something in your brain, that is the idea and the clue you have on your brain. That is what you are going to use to work in anywhere you are. But in the situation of our government here is that, imagine ministers. How are you going for imagine? Just take a look of those ministers. How on earth you are going to give person that study about doctor and you carry minister of power and give to him? How do you want him to work? Just take a look at it. So in Nigeria, our government, I don't really understand. If you go to the streets, a lot of hunger is beating a lot of citizens in the streets in your country. Imagine. Anyway, I just pray God's help.
All right.
Goodbye and good night.
All right. Good night. All right. We need to take. I can take 2 more calls. All right. Before we wrap up, 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call, and the WhatsApp number to send your messages to is 0700 903 9039. 0700 903 9039. The number to call is 0700 903 903 903. Okay, Mr. Yemi Daniels, before we wrap up, what do you have to say concerning the myriad of challenges Nigeria is currently going through?
Yeah, we had a time where we are at the lowest ebb. We are almost hitting the precipice. And the truth is that Nigeria needs a national rebirth. But for Nigeria to be reborn, we need to ask ourselves critical questions. And what's the Nigerian dream?
Okay.
At the moment, there is no direction. We're directionless people. If you ask a Chinese, they will tell you what they're about. If you ask an American, they will tell you what they're about.
Okay.
What is about the Nigerian? We do not have. We just know we are intelligent people. We are creative. We are that.
Mm-hmm.
What is the central piece? And that we rally around. As if this is our focus as a country. It is not available at the moment. And that's why I kept asking the question since 2015. What is a national orientation component of our Nigerian dream?
All right, let me take this call. Okay, continue. The call has dropped.
So until we come to that point where we can have a national dream, we may not be able to determine the kind of leadership that we want, because it is the direction we headed that will tell us what ingredients are required. So what I would suggest at the moment is that the office of the citizen has to be activated.
Okay.
We cannot afford to be docile any longer. Our lives are threatened, our economy is threatened, and that is why Nigerians must begin to stand up, regardless of their party affiliation, and demand for accountability and good governance. If we do not do that now, we will all be in for it, regardless of political affiliations. It is time that we stood up. I like reading national anthem.
Yes. Hello. Yeah, hello. Hello. Wow. You're on the road. Seems you're on a bike or something. The call is really not clear. I can take one more call. Let me read this message. Evening, Esther. As for your president on medical tourism, when your local hospitals are death traps for the common man, insecurity, economic disasters, ethnic and religious division caused by this government due to elections, it's a shame. All right, Dio. Thank you. Dio. Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Name and location, please.
Yeah, I just want to make my contribution.
Hello.
Yeah, just want to make my contribution.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you at all. I can't hear you.
Hello.
Connection is very poor. All right, we need to wrap up the program now. I do apologize for some of you who called, but the conversation was still ongoing at the time. Okay. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Final caller for the evening. What's your name, please, and location?
Thank God. My name is Comrade Iroko from Ijibo.
All right, Comrade Iroko, please go ahead.
Well done. I greet you, our guest.
Yes, Mr. Yemi Daniels.
I greet you very well. He narrated all what the solution is supposed to be for us, and he has tried. God will bless him and strengthen him in his knowledge.
Amen.
But he has tried.
Okay.
So it now depends on all we masses now to be able to decide on what we can do faster than later. Yeah. Because we should realize that we are talking of insecurity every time, every day. But these people that are penetrating into us, penetrated each and every day, inside seconds and minutes. So how long do we wait before we could react? If we reluctantly react, we will be conquered silently. Before we will react, we will have been remaining little. This is the high time we need to wise up and know to tell ourselves how to if it is by reforming ourselves, even if it is by let everybody go back to their nation self. It will be better because we cannot identify ourselves. How can we identify?
This thing you just said, that's another conversation entirely. I'm telling you, because the day we'll have that conversation, this duration of this program is not enough. But please go ahead. Just quickly wrap up, please.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, ma.
All right.
Because
thank you.
If we could not be able to identify ourselves, it won't be easy for us to fight this insurgency. I cannot lie for you. Rather from the masses to the government. All the government personnel have been terminated by repentant Boko Haram. So how can we? You understand? Thank you, ma.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Comrade Roko. Thank you so much. Madwagu Inkem Columns says, ignorance and bigotry is a terrible thing. Peter Obi was not in politics in 1999, but for someone to say Peter Obi said in 1999 that that individual is beclouded by hate, ignorance, and bigotry. Oh, wow. We need to wrap up the program. Thank you for all of you who called and sent your messages and contributed. I do appreciate you. Mr. Yemi Daniels, thank you for actually coming this evening. I was supposed to have Mr. Andy Akpotive to be part of the conversation to tell us the exact state of things in River State at the moment, but he said he is in a virtual meeting. As the last time I called him, he said the meeting was still ongoing, so of course that's important and I couldn't stop him from taking that meeting. So I sincerely apologize because I already announced that Mr. Andy Akpotive will be part of the conversation today. Mr. Yemi Daniels, what's your social media handle?
The woman rapper. I do a bit of women advocacy, so that's why it's the woman rapper.
Okay, well done. All right, my name is Esther Machiko. You can follow me on X, Estic Media on YouTube. That's ESTIQMEDIA on YouTube. That's my X handle. So just check for Esther Machiko on X. Also on Instagram is at Esther Nwaz, ESTANWAZ on Instagram. And of course on YouTube, you can follow me on YouTube. There are quite a lot of interesting content in there. Estic Media on YouTube, ESTIQMEDIA. That is my YouTube account. So you can follow there, be part of the conversation in there, subscribe, and let us continue. And of course, Voice of the People is a platform where you get to always air your views. It's important. We like to hear what you have to say when we bring down these issues to you, and your recommendations do serve a good purpose, because I feel sometimes they listen and they do the needful. Hopefully when the president returns from Paris, he will do the needful. All right, do have yourselves a wonderful day. Bye for now.